Hi, it's Lucy, and today I'm going to be doing a video on the series that I DNF'd and completed in 2020. So this would be just a video on the series that I DNF'd, but I did actually complete 2 series last year, which is very low for me. Normally I just do a video on series that I completed, but there were so few that I feel like I should just combine it with this video, and we'll talk about those books at the end, but the majority of this video is series that I DNF. Now, not all of these series are bad series. I just chose not to continue them for one reason or another. Some of those reasons might be that they're bad, but some of them might just be that I'm just no longer interested. So I believe I'm doing this in chronological order of when I read the last book in the series, but I could be wrong, but these are not really in any opinionated order. So the first series that I DNF'd is the Bells trilogy by Danielle Clayton. I actually really enjoyed this first book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I thought the world building was really interesting and I just liked the whole concept of the series. But I actually DNF'd this series in the middle of a book. I ended up DNFing the second book. I just was not enjoying it. I actually made it like 70% through the second book. I think I talked about it in like the books I DNF'd video that I did, not that recently, but it's up. And if I didn't talk about it there, you can check out my Goodreads because I gave it a whole long review because I was just so disappointed in the second one. So that disappointment makes me not want to read the third book that is now apparently coming out. I still would have considered this series a DNF series because I didn't finish the second book when it was a duology. The Magicians by Lev Grossman. If you've been on my channel since 2019 or so, you would know my hatred for the first book. There's no way I'm going to continue on in the series. I greatly disliked the first book so much, actually. It was so bad. I gave it 2 stars. I think this is supposed to be a sort of satirical take on like other fantasy books, but with a different spin on it, but it just made it weird and bad. You get a main character who you hate, or I hate, I guess I can't speak for you. The things it's supposed to be taking inspiration from, it just blatantly copies. It tries so hard to be edgy when it's just bad. And I did not like that first book. I've heard the second book is better, but the first book was so long, and I'm pretty sure the second book is also very long, so I have really no interest in attempting that. The Shades of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. I read the first book, A Darker Shade of Magic, and I gave that 4.5 stars. And I also read the second book, A Gathering of Shadows, and I gave that 3 stars. There was a massive drop off. I just decided during the second book that I just really didn't care about the characters anymore or the series as a whole, so I'm just not going to finish it. I know that there's a new sequel series coming out that follows one of the characters from this, but I just don't have any interest, so I'm not going to be continuing. This is a fantasy story that takes place in a world where there are multiple worlds, so the thing that kind of connects them is that there is a city called London in each of these worlds, and each world has like a lessening amount of magic. And there is Black London, which was destroyed by magic, and there's Grey London, which doesn't have any magic, and White London is like on its way to being destroyed by magic. And then one of our main characters is from Red London, where magic is like a big celebrated thing. And he is also known as an Antari, I want to say, which is someone who can like cross between the worlds. And so he serves the king, and he accidentally gets himself in trouble by taking something from one of the other worlds he's not supposed to, and then the other character gets roped in, and it's a whole big thing. And it was really fun in the first book. I probably maybe got caught up in the hype when I read the first book originally. I feel like it's probably more of a 4-star read now, but yeah, I just don't really care enough anymore. The Gilded Wolves by Roshani Chokshi. I read the first book and gave it 3.5 stars, and I might have continued on in the series if it hadn't ended the way it did, but I decided that that was kind of the last straw for me because I just did not like that ending at all. It felt like a cheap shot to me. This series follows a group of ragtag, I guess, kind of group of characters who all live in like Paris, and they all do have magic powers, I think, and they have to go on a sort of quest thing to find something. I'm giving a terrible synopsis right now, but it was a fun read. I just didn't love the characters, and I kind of felt like their characterizations were weak, and then the ending happened, so I don't want to continue on. Saint Rosetta's Academy by Sandhya Menon. The first book in the series is Of Curses and Kisses, and when I read it, I gave it 3.5 stars. This is a, I think, companion series where we follow multiple characters from this academy that is known for teaching like the world's like rich and famous kind of. The first book is meant to be a sort of Beauty and the Beast retelling, but I had a problem with kind of the world slash setting because I didn't understand what the setting was supposed to be. I thought it was a fantasy series, but it seems like more contemporary, but there's like little hints of magic, but I thought it was going to be more than hints. So it was really confusing for me while I was reading it. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. And the romance was just okay for me. So I don't really feel like I need to continue on in the series and see other characters do that. The Legendborn series by Tracy Deonn. I read the first book. I gave it, I think, 3 stars. I can't remember right now, but I just didn't have the greatest reading experience with it, and it wasn't my cup of tea. It follows a girl who ends up going to an early college program in order to escape the grief that she's feeling due to her mother's death 3 months prior. But on her first night at school, she ended up witnessing a magical event, and she learns about this magical society, and she starts to think that that society might have had something to do with her mother's death, so she wants to investigate, and it follows her adventure doing that. Just wasn't for me, so I don't really feel like I need to continue on in the series. The Montague Siblings series by Mackenzie Lee. I read the first 2 books in this series, A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue and The Lady's Guide to Pirates and Petticoats, and I gave them, I think, both 4 stars maybe. I enjoyed them, but Mackenzie Lee has some things going on, and I also really don't care about the 3rd book. I thought it was a duology when I finished the 2nd book, and the 3rd book follows a character who I just don't care about, and I also don't really want to continue reading Mackenzie Lee's books. You can look that up if you wanna. A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. This is another book that was just not for me at the time that I read it, so I don't really think I want to continue on in the series. The first one follows 2 girls, one of whom is a siren, who are dealing with life as one of the characters has to hide the fact that they're a siren as they're heavily persecuted, and another one is kind of dealing with some family things, and it goes on from there. Once again, just wasn't my cup of tea. The 2nd book, I believe, has a really pretty cover, but I don't want to follow that character. My main problem with the story was kind of the world, so I don't really want to continue being in that world. The Queen's Assassin by Melissa Dela Cruz. I'm pretty sure the series is called The Queen's Assassin. There's no confirmation of that on the book, but just go with it. I actually missed out on the opportunity to put this book in my worst books of 2020 video. I just forgot that I read it, I think. I don't know how I missed it. This was really bad. That's why I'm not continuing on in the series. I don't know if it's going to be a duology, a trilogy, but most aspects of like good storytelling were not apparent in this book. So I have no interest in continuing on in a series like that. And I have very little faith that it will get better, so there's no reason to put myself through that. This follows a girl who one day wants to become an assassin, but her family expects her to accept her life as a lady of the court. And then something happens where she ends up meeting the queen's main assassin, and they have to go on the run together. And we follow them as they uncover a plot. I don't remember what they do exactly. There's a love story in here. All of it's not good. Also, the main character is named Shadow of the Honeyglade for no real apparent reason. It's just there like that. And the last series that I will not be finishing is the You series by Caroline Kepnes. I read the first book, You. I did talk about this in my Worst Books of 2020 video, and I didn't enjoy the book that much. Definitely not enough to continue following the character as he continues to be himself, I guess. So there are now 2 more books in the series. I forgot what they're called, but I'm not going to read them anyway, so it doesn't matter. And You follows a man. Like, I don't know how to explain it. He gets obsessed with this girl, and the big thing is that it's told in 2nd person. So what you're reading is his inner thoughts as if he is talking to the girl. And yeah, that's it. It's a thriller, kind of. I guess it becomes less thrilling when you're in the mind of the killer, because you know what he's gonna do. You know who's doing it. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it that much. And so lastly, let's talk about the 2 series that I did finish in 2020. This year, I really would like to finish more series because I have a lot of open series. I'm thinking about doing a video where I talk about all the series that I am in the middle of. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. But the first series that I finished is the Paper Girls series. So this is a comic book series. I think I read the last 3 last year. There are only 6 volumes. I really enjoyed it. All of the volumes got between 3.5 and 4 stars, and overall as a series, I would give it 3.5 stars. The main issue I had is a personal preference, I guess, because it does deal with time travel, and I just am not a fan of that. But the series follows a group of girls from the 80s who were on their morning paper route when some weird stuff starts to happen, and we kind of follow them from there. And the other series that I ended up completing was The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. I did a whole reading vlog where I read the whole series in 48 hours. If you're interested in detailed thoughts or anything, we end up following various groups of people as they explore the land of Narnia, and that fits as a synopsis. If you want to hear the individual ratings that I gave the series, then you can check out that video. I do rate all the books in it, and I also rank them if you're interested. They average out to 3.28 stars, but I would round it up to 3.5 stars because I did enjoy it. It does give you that whimsical nature. It's just some of the books did not work as well as the others. So yes, those are all the books / series I want to talk to you all about today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. In the comments down below, let me know once again if you want to see that video where I talk about what series I'm still in the middle of. And also let me know a series that you finished in 2020 or a series that you want to finish in 2021. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so be notified whenever I post a video. I post videos every Sunday and hopefully another day of the week. But hitting the notification bell lets you know for sure. Again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye!